Well, fellas, let's talk about frozen trucks. How to thaw them out, so to say, right? There's two things I'm noticing. People are overthinking it and freaking out, and others are just freaking jamming, packing these things with the diesel, with a bunch of chemicals and additives. Some people swear by a product, others swear it doesn't work, and all over the place. Guys, I just want to talk about my experience. I know most of my videos, they come from the hot shot side of the business. This one's going to be from the diesel shop side of things. So what I'm going to talk about is my experience. I'm out of Washington, and typically winter gets about zero. Early negatives, I don't deal with negative 30s, 40s, or 50s like Alaska does. Heck, I heard recently they got negative 60. My jam, her family's out of Alaska, so they keep me on the loop. Anyways, so keep it simple, guys. Your truck's frozen. There's two big differences. Shoot, I can't even talk. I'm too tired, guys. Excuse me if I'm a little slow today. I've been so busy lately, I just keep procrastinating on making videos. So I figured, well, Paul, you got a couple hours. Make a video. So here we go. So first one is you were driving, the thing was operating, and it came to a halt. 99% your fuel filter is waxed over, plugged up, and it looks like a bunch of honey in there. And then the other one is someone kept the truck shut off, and then they came up in the morning and they can't get it to start. Quite a few times the batteries do give out. Electricity and battery technology don't do so well in these cold temperatures. Ask the fully electric guys how they're doing. Man, guys, I keep getting asked what's the future. The future is hybrid, not fully electric. All right, go back to the subject. So those trucks that you come out and you try to fire up, but they just don't turn over. A lot of people misinterpret this moment with bad batteries versus using the wrong oil for the winter. Yes, you could use the wrong oil for the winter, and I'll use my own experience. Nowadays, everyone reverts to or defaults to, hey, nowadays these oil packages are so great. Absolutely correct. But in my instance, right, a couple weeks ago, I had to go recover my own truck. It was a 22 Ram 3500, and the driver decided to shut it off overnight. It got as low as negative 24. And when he got up in the morning, he tried to fire it up at negative 17. It was no bueno. So when I came in, it was negative 17 as well, but when I was leaving, it was starting to cool off for the night. It was getting into negative 19. The truck fired up at negative 19. What did I do? I came in, gave a double dose on the fuel treatment. Guys, don't believe these fuel stations. Yes, good fuel stations do put anti-gel and all this stuff, but a good fuel station is good till zero, right? And that's it. After that, you're SOL. They might say otherwise and other things, and it's just not how it goes. I came in, back to the recovery. I came to that truck, cranked it over, batteries are low, put the jumpers on it, quote unquote, batteries are still low. What I'm saying, the engine had a really hard time turning over, so the turnover speed was really slow. So I realized what I'm dealing with. I need to warm up that oil. So went into the fuel tank, double dose on the fuel injector. I already told you guys. I use House, guys. I'm not a sponsored affiliated with them. It's just a middle of the road to half decent anti-gel. It's not top of the line stuff, but it does work. So I know some people swear by it, and some people swear by it. They're like, no way in hell that thing works. XYZ. They have all these stories how their fuel froze up. Here, let me mute this sucker. Anyways, so my case, it was slow to turn over. What I did, I call it the chicken. What do I call it? The chicken frying propane torch. But you guys know, a lot of plumbers use a small little propane torch. You heat up pipe, you solder with it. That's what I used. So after putting fuel injector, the House anti-gel stuff in the fuel tank, I got under the truck, started warming up the oil pan. keep in mind, the oil pan is metal, guys. You can't, apply this to all the trucks. So what I did, where it's hanging down, where the oil pan's hanging down, so the side, I put the flame onto the side of it and just let it warm up that oil pan. Probably every 10 minutes I went out there and turned it over, cranked her. Probably about 30 minutes into that process, I noticed the engine started turning over significantly quicker. At that point, I mean, don't laugh at me, but when I went out there, it was just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I ain't no diesel that's fired up to that rhythm, right? And then half an hour into my chicken burner applied to the oil pan, it was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Just kind of doubled up on the speed at least. So at that point, what I did is I did back-to-back cycles with the grid heater. I know, once the grid heater is good, it's good, right? But the temperature was so cold, guys. That grid heater did not stay warm for very long. And the evidence of that is when I went to start it up, right? It would turn over for about 5 seconds, and then it would hit once or twice, and then it would go back to slow cranking, right? So that tells you something. So the warmer air entered the chamber, attempted to ignite, and it was just too much resistance, so killed it. So I started starting the thing back to back like so. So I turn on the ignition, give it 20-30 seconds, let it turn over for 10 seconds, shut it off for about 20-30 seconds. Then I turn on the ignition again. I just didn't want to fry the grid heater or be another statistics with the bolt, with the heater grid bolt. Well, I think that's what a lot of these people are doing back-to-back cycles, and it's frying up the bolt in the housing, or the platform that it's holding on. More or less burning the bolt off. There you go. How about that? So, that's what I did. Just put some heat to that oil, and half an hour into the process, as I said, I'm repeating myself. Every 10 minutes I'd turn it over. 30 minutes into the process, started spinning over quicker. I started cycling the ignition. Ignition on. It did its timer thing on the dash, and then I'd let it turn over. It'd hit once or twice, and then go back to slow turning. At that point, I'd shut it off. I was probably on my 4th or 5th attempt back to back, and she finally fired up and went. This whole process took 2 hours. Why did it take 2 hours? Because I pulled up to the place, I evaluated the situation, I saw that it was slow cranking, and then I put a jumper cable from one battery to the other, and then from another battery to another. This truck's equipped with Anderson's quick connects for the jumper cables. Guys, I did a video of a cold start on my way out to go rescue that truck in Montana. Go watch a video, cold start video on this truck. I feel like if this truck was in Montana shut off in negative, 17 through negative 24, I wouldn't even bother starting it because it doesn't have a heater grid. Anyways, I'll talk about this truck another time. So yeah. So after evaluating, that's what I was showing. I was going to talk out loud my process so you guys could follow along and see how I evaluated it and what I was looking for. So I pulled up, heard it crank over slowly, put the jumpers on, same thing, really slow going on that other engine. I realized what I'm working with. The driver did tell me he shut off the truck. It ran just fine, but when he went to start in the morning, it wouldn't fire. He's saying it's batteries. I'm like, no, it's not batteries. You got a bigger problem. My problem was, as I was running 1030 oil, it's just that engine wants 1030 in the summer, warmer months, and then it wants 540 in the winter. Now, being in Washington, we don't really have those kind of crazy temps. I didn't think much of it. I just didn't think that another diesel owner would shut off my diesel. The guy just didn't know. That's just how it is. The guy just never dealt with it. And anyways, I was happy he was well and he was safe. I went out there on my own birthday. That was my good morning phone call, Paul. Happy birthday to you. Go fix your truck now. I kid you not, it was my birthday. January 12th. Anyways, so now that being said, I evaluated the batteries, and after doing jumpers, it was in the batteries. I evaluated the oil, I knew it was thick. So to help matters, I put double dose of injector cleaner, or Hal's anti-gel is more what it's geared towards. And then I went to town warming up the oil in the engine. Half an hour into this whole kumbaya process, got it going. So that's that. Now, my boys in town, we do service calls, and 90% of the service calls were just like my pickup. It got shut off for the night, and then they couldn't fire it in the morning. A couple of those now were plugged in. So the heater's not working well enough, or whatever the case may be. That's literally what my guys did. They put some heat to that oil. They put some heat to the diesel. Obviously, first thing they did is talk to the owner. How did it happen? They knew the fuel filters were not plugged up, but they did inspect it in the process. So after talking to the owner and establishing the whole story, anti-gel and fuel tank, heat to the fuel tank, heat to the oil pan. Not every truck could take heat to the oil pan, but gauge the situation. And then they would pull apart the filter. Half of them got new filters. The other half, they had those clear see-throughs. Before the other fuel filters goes to crap, your water separator is probably going to be well plugged up. So that's that. My guys were able to save these owners from a tow and these crazy bills. They obviously still had to pay for the service call and whatnot, but they were able to get them up and rolling, within an hour on average. Anyways, guys, so that's that. Main problem I had is oil. Why did I not run 540? Didn't think much of it. I figured if the guys are taking these trucks and it, even gets in the teens, they would idle them, and then zeros and negatives, definitely idle them. But that wasn't the case here. So yeah. Am I going to run 540 next year? Most likely. I'll probably run 540 hand in hand with the winter tires. October, November time comes, trucks get fresh tires when they're in stock. God, this year was a nightmare. I was struggling to get tires in. But anyways, so get the tires, get the oil in, and then once winter's over, go back to 1030. If you're new to the channel, I run Ram 3500s. Nowadays, it's majority of them are 5th gens. The 4th gens are getting high in mileage, and they just keep getting retired. I am contemplating come spring to overhaul a couple of them, put them back in the fleet for local regional stuff. But we'll talk about that in a little time. Anyways, fellas, that's the short of it. If you ever get in this pickle, and if you want to be proactive and prepare yourself, guys, I call them the tornado heaters, or torpedo. I think they're called torpedo heaters. Those jet fighter jets. I would get 2 of those, put them at about 45 degrees towards the tank, coming from the back, pointing forward. So half the heat hits the tank, the other half kind of goes under the truck, pointed in a direction where it kind of hits the bell housing and the transmission. So this way your tranny kind of warms up a little bit, because gear oil is really, at that temperature, it's really thick and has a lot of resistance, and at the same time your engine, coolant and the oil is warming up. So that's a big key there. 2 of those and you're golden. Obviously, if you came to a halt at that point, you're most likely gonna need a little bit of help with 911 and anti-gel. But I am not an advocate of a full filter of 911. If it's life and death, go for it, but I would not advise you to put that much in there. We've been successful with anti-gel. I know every situation is different. I was personally, one of my drivers froze Kenworth out. I think it was a couple winters ago, and the shop did that. They put new fuel filters and fueled it up with 911. They fired up the truck, only for me to change out injectors a couple months later. So be careful with that stuff, guys. I know some of you guys will swear by that stuff, but it was never intended to be like a 1-to-1 ratio or completely full concentration, that fuel filter. If you use it as it's instructed, then it's probably not going to hurt anything, but the way guys are using it is a little different. Anyways, fellas, I better wrap up this video. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk for so long, but obviously this video isn't for everyone. A lot of guys are curious out there, and a lot of guys are new to these videos, or new to these videos. A lot of guys are new to diesels, so they're really curious. Well, let me answer common questions. When should you plug in your truck, guys? Once it gets into the teens, I advise people to plug them up. You don't have to. These new technology trucks, they're phenomenal. I feel like if my 22 had 540 in it, it would be 60-40, maybe even 70-30, meaning 60% it would fire, 40 it wouldn't, or 70% it would fire, 30 it wouldn't. Oil's a big thing. I did do a test on this truck. I did the cold start where I recorded it, and I showed you guys, but I have another cold start with just the oil being replaced. Same kind of conditions, same temps. Just putting 540 in here, T6 Rotella. Really good oil. Off the shelf, it's solid oil. So I'm gonna dig that video up and post it for you guys as well. Another question I get asked: when should I block off the front end? The 5th gens, they got the shutters, so you don't have to worry about the 5th gens. But the 4th gens, I notice anytime it gets into the single digits, this truck struggles. Don't mind that check engine light, has a mind of its own. But lately, last 3 days, it has not went off. It just stayed on. So maybe I got a neat code. I got to read it. This truck kind of struggles to stay warm in the single digits. Obviously, it's 37 out today, so no issues whatsoever. But yeah, better get on that throttle a little bit. There's a couple vehicles behind me. I love this truck, man. This thing just moves. As long as you take it easy with that pedal, don't jab it. It'll usually hold 6th and pull you out. So plug in and the frontal grill thing. 4 gens, I would definitely in single digits. I would adjust the front end and put at least a piece of cardboard covering 80% of your radiator, 90% of your radiator, or the actual supplied. A lot of these trucks were supplied with them if they were ordered with them. The leather material they cover up the grill with. Pretty fancy stuff. Anyways, fellas, as always, may the Lord bless you. May you all mighty fine day. Let me know in the comment section what else you want to know about this whole frozen truck thawing out deal. Yeah, ciao, bye.